Good morning, everybody. Grace and peace to you from our Lord Jesus Christ and all the saints here in Central California. Yes, there are Christians in California, a lot more than you'd think. We have a very thriving community here. Um, Coming to you this morning to talk about, I got called this weekend. So, as part of my job, every other week I'm on call for any kind of infrastructure emergencies or issues there might be. This past weekend, I was not on call. My partner, Leo, across the way here, was on call. And I was up camping, having a good time camping with my wife. We're up there in a not too far from home, about an hour away, up in the mountains. And just getting ready to watch my home church over Starlink. Um, when actually we were having breakfast, there was plenty of time before. Uh, got a call from Leo there. He says, "Hey, our GME unit is down." Now, GME is actually the folks that are right next door. They're physically in the same building, but they're in the room next door. And they have their own switch. They don't use our switch, so we got a work group switch over there for them. And GME stands for Graduate Medical Education. So it's basically all of our teachers, uh, doctors that are teachers teaching medical students. That's where they all live. And so Leo says, yeah, the switch over the network over at GME is just down. And I had Cindy. Was our weekend help desk person. She was answering phones on the weekend. He said, I had Cindy walk over there and she verified that the switch has power and the UPS it's plugged into is working. You know, the lights are flashing, but the computers can't get anywhere. They're just saying no internet. And well, first of all, good job. They checked power. 90% of all network issues are power related. I contend. Um, so I thought, well, okay, that's good. At least they've ruled out power. Now let's see what else it can be. And I wasn't thrilled about this. You know, my heart was just, oh man, am I going to have to abandon my wife here while I run run into work and fix this problem, which will take who knows how long. Um, Anyway, so luckily I had on a whim at the last minute decided to take my laptop with me. And we had Starlink with us, and so I already had Starlink set up. So I get on the laptop and I open up the VPN to work. And the first thing I do is fire up Intermapper. I'm looking over here because that's where Intermapper is on my second display. Fire up Intermapper, and well, you can't see it. I'm dragging this thing around, and I am not sharing my screen yet. Hold on, I'm going to share my screen. Wait, let me move this over so you have something to look at other than just me. Okay, hang on. Where did I go? I'm sorry. This is all right. Share. Okay, share this screen. Yes, share it. All right, you still can't see it. Hang on. There it is. So anyway, as stated, I fire up Intermapper, and I've intentionally got this very small. I apologize, but I don't want you guys getting more info than you need to have. So anyway, it's this little switch right here, this slightly darker green switch that I've got highlighted. That was showing blood red, meaning it's down. And then the two interfaces right there had little red X's in them, meaning that they're down. Couldn't see them. And this switch up here, which is core switch number 2, was showing amber, meaning it had a problem. And I could see that the problem was it had 2 ports that were down. Okay, so first thing I do is I say, okay, I'm going to telnet into telnet. I'm using SSH. When I say telnet, it's just a blanket way of saying I'm opening up a terminal to a remote switch. I don't mean I'm using telnet. I just can't train myself to say SSH. So I SSH into core switch 2, um, using Putty because with Intermapper you can set up helper apps. So basically, I just right click the switch and I want to say I want to SSH to it or trace route to it or ping or whatever. If it's a host, you can open up remote desktop. So it's kind of nice about Intermapper. It's got all these little helper apps that you can set up. So I actually have a different terminal application that I prefer to use called MOBA Xterm, but quick and dirty, just use Putty. So I open up Putty and I get in there and I could see which interfaces it was. So I said, okay, it's 210 and 410. So show me the state of 210, 410. And this is something I don't see too often. In fact, I can't remember the last time I've ever seen this. Um, Normally, so as you can see, the port state is down, admin status is up, so it's up, down. And the reason is SLPP, which is simple loop prevention, protection. Maybe I'll go with protection. Simple loop protection protocol. You can ask GPT and it'll correct me. In fact, I'll check it in a little bit here. And that helps protect the rest of the hospital from loops. Now, well, let me just go through this first. So, okay, it's SLPP. It's down because it detected a loop somewhere out downstream of these ports. So there's only one switch downstream of those ports. I said, okay, well, I can't run into church. I can't run into work and verify that there's no loops on that switch because I can't get to that switch. So what I am going to try to do is I'm just going to re-enable one of those uplinks. So go into config mode, go into the interface, and to do that, you just say shut, no shut. It's also called bouncing the interface. But when the port has been brought down by the switch has down to the port itself. You basically have to say shut, no shut, because I mean up here you can say I've told it to be up. The switch has told it to be down for some reason, but since I've told it to be up, I have to first tell it to be down again and then come back up by negating the shutdown command. So I did that, reset the interface, bounced it. It came back up, up. And that's what you want to see. Admin status up, port state up. Said okay, and I waited a few minutes. So okay, I waited 1 minute from 750 to 751. Anyway, I waited. 1 minute is like 5 minutes when you think it's an emergency. All right, so I waited and said, okay, well, it's staying up because honestly, if the loop was still there, it would have shut back down immediately. I wouldn't have. I mean, a minute is a long time in networking terms. So after I did that, I said, all right, let's try it on the other interface. So when interface 410, did a shut no shut on that. And then I said, okay, show me the interface gig state of both of them. And showed up, up. I said, okay, that's great. So then I sat there and waited for a little while longer and pulled Intermapper back up. Everything looked green. I called Leo back, said, hey, looks like it's up to me. Have Cindy check with the end users and let's see how things are going for them. There's only one user. It was Sunday morning. I don't know who's in there on Sunday morning at like 6:30. But somebody was because we don't do any teaching on the weekends. We do lots of medical stuff. It's a hospital, so it's 24/7, 365. But as far as the teaching goes, those teachers have the weekends off just like any other teacher. So Cindy goes back over there and she checks with them, says, yep, all's good. Phones are working again, computers are working, so it's all good. So Monday morning, I went into the switch and I need to do something with the logging on that switch because it's logging so many errors or so many informational events that there was only like about 24 hours of logs in there. So there was nothing for me to see in the switch. Now, SLPP, there's two places we enable this. We enable slip guard on the switch port, which is simple loop. Well, I already said it. Slip guard monitors the port of each switch. So if it detects a loop, it shuts down those two ports. We've also got spanning tree out there. So and it does similar. But that's what slip guard does. And I checked once the switch was back up, and this was on Monday morning. I went through and checked all the ports, and none of them were down. The other place we enable SLPP is on the core switch, but we enable it against the VLAN. So it's checking the VLAN for loops. And I'll have to be honest, I'm not sure how you loop a VLAN. Maybe you guys can. Smarter network. There are a lot, let me tell you guys, there are a lot smarter network guys out there watching this, watching me, that should probably be making these videos, not me. But they pipe up with some great comments. So watch the comments. If you can tell me how a VLAN gets looped, so to speak. So we enable that on the VLAN on the switch. So for some reason it got triggered on that particular switch. Now since there was no ports that were looped, the only thing I can figure is that switch. Do I have drawing tools here? Annotate. Let's see if I can do this. See if this will work. And I want black. See if this will work. Does this work? Okay, yeah. So this switch is a two switch stack. And in between, there's two stacking cables. For normally you would, if there were three switches, then you would do like this. Is there an eraser? Yeah. There were three, you would do this. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. I don't know how to use this crazy Zoom stuff. And you'd have another stacking cable that goes this way, and then basically another stacking cable that goes this way. And that would be what we call a ring. If you didn't have that, you would have a daisy chain. So that's basically the way it works. And the thought is, here, let me put that one line back. And the way I normally do my switches, it's like this. Let me put a core here. It's gonna be my core. And I'll do the uplinks to the core like this. Okay, that's basically my network in a nutshell right there, along with a few firewalls and stuff thrown in. So we want to have these in a ring. So if we lose this center switch, like this here, oops, nope. I just want the eraser. I'm sorry, guys, I'm struggling with this. So if for some reason this switch goes away, these two switches, everything on these two switches can still keep communicating to the core. And if this switch goes away, or let's say, where'd my eraser go? Let's say this switch goes away. Well, we've lost this link, but this switch and this switch can still communicate to the core. So this will go over the stacking cable, and so basically you limit the amount of destruction on your network if you lose the switch with the stacking. And of course, you're also getting more ports. Well, in my case, with this particular switch with GME, what we have is basically, let's do it like this. Sorry, this can be a little long. We basically have this. It's a two switch ring. So we have our two stacking cables connecting the two switches. One's a master, and one is a backup. All right. Okay. So the thought being that if you lose the master up here, this switch, this backup, will become the master. Do you see where I'm going with this yet? Well, let me undraw a picture here for you. So you got a master and a backup in a stack, right? You lose this link and you lose this link, even just momentarily. What happens? Now you've got two masters out there. This guy has an IP address and he's trying to talk to the core saying, hey, I am this guy. This guy's got a backup copy of all this master's info, so he can't talk to the master, so he's got to assume now I'm the master. It's kind of what we call a split brain. And so now we've got two IPs, two different switches with the same IP reporting back to the core. And what does the core do? Wait, I think I've got a loop. So this SLPP, and this is what I think happened. SLPP detected that for this, however long this took, and then disabled both ports. So basically, this link got brought down, and this link got brought down. Now, at some point in the meantime, these guys ironed out their problem, and the stacking cables came back up. That's what I think. 1 second. I don't even make good coffee, and that tastes good. So anyway, that's what I think happened. And then of course, when I re-enabled this port, this guy started talking. These guys all came back up. Everything looked good. Everything was working. I enabled the other port, and we were all back to normal. That's what I think happened anyway. So you leave a comment below if you agree or disagree. If you got some other ideas, maybe you understand SLPP better than me, which wouldn't be hard at all. Um, so, and as you can see, I'm doing how do I get rid of these tools now? There we go. I'm showing you a log file here from Putty. So just one other little bonus tidbit of info. If you use Putty, there's a session area where you can keep all your switch sessions and all that. And there's a logging area. Do yourself a favor and change the default logging. So I have this going out to a network drive in a folder called Putty Logs, so that every log goes out to this folder, number one, out on the network, assuming we can get to the network. If you can't, then it'll just log it locally. And then I have the log file standardized as I have my initials, and then I have it set to put the host name in, and then I have it set to do year, month, and day, and then time, and .log. So what we end up with is, well, I'm not going to show you because it's got all my IP addresses and stuff, the host name. I don't want you to know the host names. But it's got a way for you to go back and see what you did every time. So you can go back to that folder and you'll see, I'm looking at it right now. I can see everything going back to, geez, when did I start doing this? 2021. I've got log files of switches that I've worked on all the way back to 2021. So that's pretty handy. pretty handy to be able to go back and see what you did. And so if you mess something up, you can go back and say, what the heck did I do? Oh, shoot, shouldn't have done that. So anyway, just a little pro tip there. And just one more thing. I want to shift gears here real quick. So last week, when I said ping should always work, and it should always work, in my opinion. Sorry, security guys, I think ping should always work. And to the guy that recommended it, yes, it is definitely going on a t-shirt. Um, in the vein of ping should always work. So last week with these guys that I was talking about, we're setting up a IPsec tunnel, the production tunnel. We got that set up. We were supposed to set up the DR tunnel first, the disaster recovery tunnel. A DR tunnel didn't get set up first because they were having trouble with it. So I said, well, let's move on to prod. And there were no problems with that one. Well, other than my typos and the fact that they can't reliably ping anything. Um, so we're working on the DR tunnel yesterday morning, about 9 o'clock or so. So we're working on it and working on it. And I was looking at the firewall logs, which are Greek to me. So I ran them through ChatGPT and it told me, looks like your proxy IDs don't line up with the Cisco ACL. It's like, oh, awesome. Thank you, Mr. AI. Um, so that's what I told them. I said, hey, I think we need to compare our your ACL to my proxy ID. So we did that. And then he had a couple other misconfigs that weren't the same. Probably from last week when they were trying to troubleshoot the DR tunnel, because it was a different guy this morning. Um, let's see, what do we do? Okay, yeah, so we got it all set up. We monkeyed around for probably about an hour, and finally the tunnel came up. Like, awesome, the tunnel is up. And I said, Vinny, they have Vinny is one of our application developers. She is a woman. It's spelt Winnie, but it's pronounced Vinny. In case she's watching. So I said, Vinny, they have problems with ping. So why don't we ping them? Because we could ping them on the prod tunnel. And let's try to ping them on the DR tunnel. And she goes, okay, okay. And she starts pinging. She goes, I'm not getting any reply. I said, okay, just keep the ping going, make it constant ping. So there's two hosts we need to get to. And she was just pinging both of their hosts from one of ours. Um, so the ping's going over there. And first thing I see is another one of my mistakes is the security rule in the firewall that was pointing to them, not the NAT rule or anything else, the security rule had typo in the IPs. So her traffic was being denied. I'm like, okay, dummy, stupid. So I fixed that, pushed the config changes to the firewalls, and then I see it being allowed. Traffic's being allowed out. Sit in the tunnel. We're good now. I said, all right, Vinny, I think I found the problem. You are the pings replying now? No, I'm still not getting any reply. Like, okay, Mr. Remote Firewall guy, do you see her traffic getting through? He's like, no, well, let me check. Check. He goes, yeah, I'm seeing her traffic hit the firewall, but it's not routing to the host apparently. Hold on, let me check a few things. So he's checking a few things. Like 15 minutes worth of him checking a few things. Then again, guys, when you're on a Zoom call, please pay attention. Wake up, pay attention. Some guy finally wakes up on the Zoom call and goes, "Oh, wait, is the hospital trying to ping us?" Yeah, we're not getting a reply. Oh, well, we haven't built the servers yet. Really? They haven't built the servers. So I don't know, I kind of liken this to, I need you to build me a road, but I don't have a car. Okay. All right, well, your road's done. Go build yourself a car and then let me know if the road works. So anyway, I said, all right, Vinny, cancel the pings. It's all good. I'm calling this tunnel complete because the tunnel came up. Both tunnels were working. I went into the firewall, the CLI, and I forced both the tunnels up. And yeah, Then I went back into the GUI, which I always like to see in the GUI. The little green lights come on for phase one and phase two, and the green lights were there. So, all right, we're done. So, yeah, I imagine like in a month when they've got their servers built, they're going to come back with another problem, and it's going to be a network problem, but it's not going to be a network problem. It's going to be a server problem. So, just another day in the life of a network admin. That is the network admin life, folks. All right, if I'm going on a little long here, if you like what you saw, click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down. I always love reading your comments. Give me your thoughts on SLPP, um, because I haven't really had a chance to research it, although I am going to right now. So it's always fun to find out what I thought I knew versus what reality is, and gives you guys a chance to correct me too, and that's always fun. So. All right, guys, that's it. God bless, and we'll see you next week. Stop.